the head of research at the PMO Kartu Prakerja Indonesia, and I will be your facilitator for today's webinar. This session is part of the 11th EEA meeting, aiming to highlight artificial intelligence AI for equity in education. AI has promising technology of our time. Its influence extends beyond many sectors, including healthcare, transportation, and education. However, many discussions often focus on the negative impacts, such as job displacement and ethical dilemmas. Today, we aim to explore the positive opportunity AI technology can offer, particularly in education. Indeed, integrating AI into education can address several significant challenges. First, it can increase access to quality education by providing virtual tutors and scalable learning resources. Second, AI can tailor educational content to match each student's learning pace and style, improving their outcomes. Third, AI can create multilingual content, making education more inclusive. Last but not least, it can streamline inefficient operational and administrative processes, allowing educators to focus more on teaching. At Prakerja, Indonesia's large-scale skill development program, we have leveraged AI to enhance our platform significantly. To date, we have provided training for 18.7 million beneficiaries across all provinces in Indonesia. Our use of machine learning technologies has enabled us to deliver several impactful features to millions of our beneficiaries, including, first, training recommendation. Using machine learning, we assist beneficiaries in selecting appropriate training based on their demographics and interests, ensuring relevant and personalized selections. Second, job recommendations. By integrating machine learning with job portal partners, each beneficiaries receive unique job recommendations aligned with their completed training. And third, liveness checks. We verify that participants of the trainings are real humans through AI-driven checks. Indeed, AI plays a crucial role in facilitating skill development and lifelong learning. It promotes universal access to quality education and creates flexible learning environment. The adoption of AI-powered technology like adaptive learning systems and virtual educational assistants can help create a better educational landscape that emphasizes lifelong learning. Despite the benefits of AI, it is essential to acknowledge the associated risks and challenges, such as ethical consideration, biased data, privacy, cybersecurity, and reduced human interaction. Now let's learn about all the challenges and opportunities of leveraging AI to ensure equity in education from our distinguished speakers. Our first speaker today is Mr. Ben Leong, Director of the AI Center for Educational Technologies, who will speak on the topic of using AI tutors to promote equity in education. Our second speaker is Ms. Pam Vachatimanont, Director of Operation and Partnership at TeachAI, who will share insight on bridging divides for AI in education, policy ideas and initiatives. Our third speaker is Mr. Sajid Ali Anjum, Chief Technology Officer at Knowledge Platform, who will provide us with more information concerning AI for personalized learning and content creation. Following the main presentation, Mr. Ilja Riki, Project Officer, Section of Youth Literacy and Skills Development, Education Sector, UNESCO Paris, will be invited to briefly introduce the UNESCO Global Skills Academy, which provide digital skills development opportunities for enhanced employment through his pre-recorded video. Each speakers will have 15 minutes to present, and I will remind them of the time. After the presentation, we will have a 20 minutes question and answer session. Please feel free to submit your questions through the chat function during the presentations. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Ben Leong, to begin his presentation. Mr. Leong, the time is yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. Very good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me today to share with you some of my thoughts about improving equity in education, right? And I want to apologize for kind of changing the topic of my slides today. Actually, it's the same topic, except that given some recent events, I decided to change the title, right? So what happened was that recently, very recently, just last week, right, it was announced that Singapore has the highest marks in PISA. Okay, I mean, actually, this is something we do quite often and quite well. But this year, in fact, we have the highest marks in creativity, which to us was also surprising. Okay, so within this kind of a context, right, the question I think people would like to know, right, and honestly, I don't have the answers, but I want to guess, have a stab at this, which is, and why does Singapore do so well in education, right? Okay. So in my view, and I think I'm also sort of like reflecting some of the government's view, because I did work in the Ministry of Education for 5 years, okay, is that to us, right, the way to do better and to do well, and why we think we do well in education is because we have a great focus on the teachers. So it is true that Singapore probably has the best resourced education system. We have like the most advanced software, hardware, okay? But ultimately, we think that it is not enough to just have technology. So to this day, there's a lot of talk about AI being the greatest thing, and with AI, everything's going to improve. We don't really think so, all right? We think AI has many advantages, and it will help us do better. But we're looking at this from a context of helping teachers do better, right? So I hope I can convince you today that the key is that we can deliver good education as a country, right, if we have good teachers. But one of the problems that many countries face, obviously, is that, and even in Singapore, even though we have good teachers, we also don't think that we have, enough good teachers, right? So good teachers are in short supply. So the question that today I want to talk about, and obviously it's going to be about AI tutors, is that how can we use technology, right, to improve sort of access to good teachers, right? So let me just use this opportunity to also tell you a bit more about what my center in Singapore, the AI Center for Education Technologies, has been working on. So one case study is this: there is a severe shortage of computer science teachers worldwide. Okay, this is a picture from Cornell, okay, from some other talk, right, where these students are here waiting to see their TAs, right, to get help, right? And the reason is quite simple now, is because computer science, the good students do well and they go out there and make a lot of money, right? So very few of them would actually want to become teachers, right? Even in Singapore, right? We are quite well funded. We pay the teachers quite well, but it's very hard for us to recruit these computer science graduates to become teachers, right? So one of the things that we have built is this system called Kartu, okay, which tries to basically give extra help to students automatically.
It is almost midnight, and our student is writing a Python program for his assignment. It is 5 minutes before the submission deadline, and he has written a program. But upon running his program, he realizes that it is incorrect. He has no idea where the mistake is, and he cannot reach his teacher at this time. Enter Kodavari, our patent-pending, AI-driven programming coach. He just clicks the hint buttons. Behind the scenes, Kodavari examines his code, and then provides personalized guidance, immediately. And this happens, within his familiar programming platform. He gets hints, and not answers. This way, he fixes his mistakes, while at the same time, learning the programming concepts. Our technology also reduces the teacher's load, by highlighting common student misconceptions, helping grade submissions, and curating student-specific problems. Kodavari's technology helps students learn, and teachers do what they do best.
Okay, so if you can, I hope you like that little marketing clip, right? So the first question you asked me, obviously, right? Romora is smiling already, right? I mean, this is not new, right? ChatGPT just came out, right? They can do this already, right? Okay. Well, as it turns out, okay, this is where we do some amount of research, right? Which is that if you actually if you take a question, you paste it into GPT, right? It will give you an answer, and it does it very well, okay? But that's not what we're doing, right? What we're doing here is that we're taking a student's homework, right? And we're sending it to GPT and asking GPT to tell the student where he goes wrong. It turns out it's much harder than getting an answer. Okay, so the interesting kind of insight that I want to share with you today is that, yes, GPT give you answers, right? But teaching is not giving people answers, right? The problem we're trying to solve here is that you're giving the students wrong answer to GPT and asking GPT to give you the feedback. Okay, it turns out that we are also trying it out, right? And last year in 2023, okay, this is, I'm gonna say that this number is dated, right? Because this is GPT-4, which was the paid version last year. Okay, GPT-4o just came out a couple of weeks ago. My guys are now furiously trying to figure out how good it is. Okay, but this paper we published last year is a technique that allows us to do some kind of engineering verification, right? To essentially improve the coverage from 75% to 88%. This is our system called Kartu, which is actually also based on GPT. Now, so with the new advances in GPT-4o, we think that it's going to increase from 75 to maybe 85, 80%, right? But our technique could be laid over this new advance, right? And then obviously we'll do better 88%, okay? But again, this is still preliminary. We are doing it right now. I don't have the answers now, but very likely we will know how much better we can do. But this is the point. Most of the technologies today is based on this thing called large language models, and for which hallucination remains a big problem. So a lot of what we do is actually to validate that the answers coming back are actually correct. Okay, so this is not something we're working on, and it's something that has also been validated. So we have also done essentially a user study earlier this year at IIT Kanpur, which is one of the top schools in India. We found that our technology, okay, while it's not as good as the best tutors, can actually do as well as the average ones. Okay. So how can we do better than that, right? Okay, so I've been a teacher for almost more than 18 years. It's going to be 19th year, right? And the young teachers will think that teaching is about the communication of knowledge, right? But to me, that's not true, right? I think teaching is really the business of managing motivations, right? If you can convince a student that he or she should learn because he doesn't want to let you down, I think we're done as teachers, right? So I think if we can convince them we care, we love them, they will do well, they will learn, right? Now, and so the point is, good teaching is really about having a heart for the students, having that personal relationship. Okay, so let me just digress a moment. Okay, it turns out that one of the most common applications today for this LLMs is actually virtual girlfriends. Okay, don't ask me why. Okay, I have no idea, right? I have no need to talk to a virtual girlfriend. I have this thing called wife, right? Okay, I'm really happy with my wife, so there's no reason for that. But apparently, based on reports, virtual girlfriends are very popular, right? Because they're able to replicate that kind of human interactions. So this is our idea, right? Can we use these LMs to replicate that human effective component in teaching?
When you teach a small class, you can cater to the different learning styles of each student. However, the bigger your class grows, the less your personalization can be made for each student. That's where we step in. Introducing Chico, a personalized learning platform built for the next generation of education. Let's see how it works. This is how a typical lesson flows. You introduce some concepts, give some definitions, provide some examples, and you check for understanding. If something's not quite right, you clarify. Make sure everyone's clear. And when all is well, you move on. Now, we repeat this for every topic until the end of class. And this is how it looks like in Chico. This is the storyboard, where you design and test your entire lesson from start to finish. And your students will see this. Your lesson contents are delivered in blocks of content and action. Contents form the knowledge base, and how they proceed with an action, which is a form of feedback, really, determines where the lesson will go next. And check out that confetti, totally environmentally friendly. Now, students are inquisitive. If at any time students feel like asking something, they can do so right here. You can then answer these questions and send the student right back on their way to mastery. Now, I know what you're thinking. Manually answering every question is not scalable, and we agree. That's why, based on the context and our knowledge, Chico can generate a draft reply that you can review before you send it. And all these interactions are captured in the system, right? So, as more and more questions get answered by drafting and human review, our knowledge gets more and more robust. After enough iteration, you can finally turn on auto-reply and stream answers directly to the students. But even then, if the conversation is stuck, you can intervene and send them back on track. So, you're always in control. You can manage all your students in the mission control and take charge of their learning experiences in one place. Now, this is where we differ from a typical teaching chatbot, because we don't want the chatbots to take over the learning experience. You already have a great lesson crafted at Chico here, so we want to make sure that even if the student digress, they will eventually converge back to the lesson. We call this continuity. Now, let's go over some nifty features we've been developing to make your teaching life easier at Chico. The first is timelines. Schedule is crucial in a lesson plan. Timelines in the storyboard allows you to pace out different parts of your lesson so your students are getting the right amounts of learning at any time. And that's timelines. Next is recall. Teaching is the business of managing motivation, right? Now it gets hard when you aren't even physically there with your students. And the thing is, people forget things over time, and it's described by the forgetting curve. As interactions become increasingly asynchronous, we have to deal with this. Recall is a feature where we tap into the rich platforms that students already use, like Telegram, and deliver reminders, motivators, and contents for them to refresh what they've learned directly to them, wherever they might be. So we're really taking what your students are used to today and build interfaces and interactions around them. And so the forgetting curve will look more like this. So you teachers can focus on building the best stories on Chico, and we'll do the hard work to make sure your students stay engaged in them. And that's recall. Next is co-author. You guys teachers already have great materials that you use to teach your classes today. So with co-author, you can just take your PowerPoint slides or those long PDF files, and with some voodoo AI magic, co-author will draft a lesson that you can then test, edit, and publish. We believe that co-author will help you create good stories effortlessly in your already busy schedule. And that's co-author. So, auto-reply, timelines, recall, and co-author. These features will be coming later this year. We build Chico this way because we believe teachers are at the heart of improving education. So, we build a platform that mimics the affective components of teaching and bring them to you so you can direct and design your students' learning experience, from newbie to mastery. Chico is built by teachers for teachers. Here at the AI Center for Educational Technologies, we are seasoned teachers, and we build solutions that empower you teachers to deliver the best teaching experience you can to your students and improve learning beyond Singapore for all.
Okay, I hope that's kind of cute, right? So the context of that we're building this tool is actually for remedial. So students that actually have finished a class and we need them to kind of catch up, we can use this system. And also in Singapore, we are also investing into what's called skills future or continuous education. So it's something that we think can help as well, right? And again, I guess let me just summarize what I want to say today is that technologies cannot replace good teachers, great teachers, right? But the goal is that if we are clever about this, we can, number one, okay, in the case of the automatic tutor, we can actually make sure that the students get access to kind of a feedback that is not worse than the average tutors, right? And number two is that we have great teachers, but they're finite time, right? So by having tools like Chico, right, we hope to be able to kind of like scale up their influence over students, right, and help them basically be able to kind of like project that greatness, that care and concern and love for the students, okay, in a way that is both effective as well as personalized. All right, so on that, I think I have come to the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take questions later at the panel discussion. Right, thank you, Romora.
Thank you, Mr. Leong, for your insightful presentation on how to use AI to improve access to good teachers. It's very interesting and insightful. And now we would like to introduce the next speaker, who is Miss Pam Vachatimanont. She will share insights on bridging divides for AI in education, policy ideas, and initiatives. Pam, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Romero, and thank you to Ben. What a energizing and fun presentation. I learned a lot from it. I apologize to our amazing host today because I'm going to try a new way to share my screen, and I just wanted you to check for me. Do you still see my slides move?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, fantastic. Thank you again for having me. As Romora introduced, my name is Vachatimanont, and I'm the Director of Partnerships and Operations for a multi-organizational initiative called TeachAI. And I'm actually presenting today from San Francisco in California, but very energized to be here and excited to be with you all this evening. Originally from Thailand, so thank you to our hosts in UNESCO Bangkok and the EEF as well. Before I dive into the heart of the presentation, I want to just take hopefully less than 2 minutes to talk about TeachAI and the perspectives that I'm bringing to you all here. So as I mentioned, TeachAI is an initiative of multiple organizations that have come together to try to help guide education leaders like yourselves and policymakers to think about transforming education, not only by teaching with AI, and Mr. Leong just highlighted so many wonderful ways that we can think about teaching with AI, but also the importance of teaching about AI. I'm based at code.org, which is an education nonprofit and one of the leading organizations of the initiative. The initiative actually has 100+ organizations that are leaders in education, leaders in technology. So you'll see OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, as well as leaders in education and technology to all come together to create shared resources, shared guidance, shared thoughts on the future direction of education in this age. And in addition to the expertise from technology experts, education experts, we also engage with governments. Our hosts today are also have agencies that participate in TeachAI, and all the governments also can help shape the resources that we make. And if you visit teachai.org, you can learn a little bit about more about the work that we do. And so with that, a quick slide about the supporters of the TeachAI initiative. I want to jump into talking about the AI and education opportunity. And I think Mr. Leong did a really wonderful job highlighting a few of that. There are many, many opportunities for education through the use of AI and technological tools. The top half of this slide here, you can see many wonderful benefits. The importance of potentially personalized learning that we just learned about, improving teacher efficiency, aiding creativity, collaboration, helping teachers with content development. So many wonderful potential uses. However, as Mr. Leong also kind of highlighted, there's potentially some risks to using AI in education. Issues around misinformation, cheating, we hear about a lot, privacy, over-reliance. What if students use the tools too much and then they become lazy and other things? So there are concerns that the use of AI can also create increased inequities rather than trying to reduce it. And in order to reduce the amount of risks of the use of AI in education and the use of AI by people generally, we really want to highlight the importance of AI literacy and the importance of not only thinking about using AI, but at the same time, thinking about the importance of teaching about AI, including how it works, but also understanding societal impacts. And so the first key takeaway from my presentation today is just, if you take away one thing, AI literacy is important. And a quick definition here of what AI literacy can include. We need to understand how it works, how to use it responsibly, recognizing its societal and ethical impacts. And that is going to be crucial to getting ahead of any risks with AI and really just trying to focus on all the wonderful positives if we support education systems, support ourselves, support students, support teachers to build their AI literacy. And so with that, when we think about digital divides in education, a lot of us think about issues of access, there's not enough hardware, no access to computers, not enough access to the internet, et cetera. But in this new age of AI, it can be suggested that the new digital divide that we have upon us is a difference between which students are empowered to use AI tools and understand AI tools versus those students who do not. One can imagine a world where lots of students have opportunities to using tools. They get to reap all the benefits that are at the top half of this graph here to improve lots of things. And even if every student in the world had access and they all could use the top half, those students that are not getting AI literacy, they are at more risk to those issues at the bottom half. And so it really behooves us, it's really important to be able to support equity in AI in education by also teaching about AI literacy. And so with that, I want to highlight takeaway 2 from the presentation today, which is that we not only need to think about inequities in access to AI tools, but also think about inequities to which teachers are being taught to think about using AI tools and how to use them responsibly and creatively, which students are being encouraged to use AI tools in a responsible and creative way. And so not only thinking about access divides in AI in education, but access, design, and use. And so with that, TeachAI has a resource with policy recommendations, policy ideas around promoting AI literacy. And so takeaway 3 from my presentation today is the importance of creating teachers, education leaders. I think every single person who is potentially on this webinar today has a role to play in making sure we have the right environment so that all students and all teachers, all schools can benefit from the positive potentials of AI in education. And with that, either time is flying super quickly or I've just been incredibly either speaking too fast again or have not noticed the time, but I'm actually almost done with my presentation. So hopefully the organizers are excited. Maybe we get some time back. And finally, I want to wrap up by quickly introducing 2 initiatives that Code.org is partnering on, helping to promote AI literacy, especially supporting students, teachers, educators to understand how AI works. In Indonesia, Prestasi Junior Indonesia is developing a STEM education program for teachers and students. They're teaching a course on AI and machine learning as part of a big STEM initiative that they have. And through this, they're hoping that all students learning about technology, who want to become responsible computer scientists, who want to use AI tools in learning STEM, that they're also learning how AI works as they're using those tools. So that's a wonderful example. Another very interesting example is in South Korea, the largest teacher education institute of higher education has something called an AI convergence education major, where they're actually teaching teachers about AI literacy. So potential teachers, teacher candidates, go through classes to understand how do they design with AI in their classes? How do they use AI textbooks responsibly? Which I think is so wonderful and so cool. And really want to highlight this as well as another positive example. And they're also teaching those teacher candidates, our future teachers, to learn about AI and how AI works. Build kind of like a foundational technical understanding of that. And with that, I've wrapped up my slides for today. Thank you. I think I saved maybe about 5 minutes, but I was nervous about over speaking and I overshot. So pleased to hear from my contacts and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Vachatimanont, for your valuable insights on building AI literacy to address the potential AI digital divide, which can actually include the lack of access to AI, as well as the understanding of its design and use. After interesting example about Kodafri from Mr. Leong, there is also an interesting example from Mr. Vachatimanont on Prestasi Junior in Indonesia and KNUE from Korea. Thank you so much for the presentation. Now, let's move on to our third speaker. Our third speaker is Mr. Sajid Ali Anjum. He will provide us with more information concerning AI for personalized learning and content creation. Mr. Anjum, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. I love the presentations of Ben and Pam. Great work. I'm honored to be presenting at this conference. My name is Sajid Ali. I'm working as a Chief Technology Officer at Knowledge Platform. Before starting the presentation, I would like to express that we at Knowledge Platform are incredibly honored to receive the Van Hoy Award for our AI-based adaptive and blended learning solution. We deeply appreciate UNESCO Bangkok for coordinating the award and the government of China for their generous sponsorship. Thank you for that. Let's start with the introduction of the company. At Knowledge Platform, we serve millions of learners and educators across Asia. We provide a complete learning solution from designing learning strategies to creating content to deploying the technology and providing schools the support to basically schools and teachers. We are majorly serving emerging markets. And as we all know that the problems of emerging markets are different, slightly different from developing markets. We are working on these top 3 areas to provide equitable access. Firstly, regarding offline access, many schools in emerging markets lack internet access. You may have internet in one classroom, but you may not have the internet in another classroom due to the wireless connectivity. To address this issue, we have developed mobile and desktop apps that enable users and schools to download and access all content offline. The other 2 areas are multilingual content creation because we don't have enough digital content available in local languages, and personalized learning, so learners can learn at their own pace. These are our top AI use cases. I will be discussing these 2 AI use cases, the multilingual content creation and personalized learning in detail in today's presentation. We all know that AI applications in education are rapidly growing, especially some recent developments have made a specific type of AI, the generative AI, more widely available, which is being used for things like clarifying concepts, generating images, generating audio, and many companies are leveraging generative AI. For instance, Khan by Khan Academy, they launched an AI-powered tutoring and teaching assistant, and then there are many other companies in generic tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Bing, etc., etc. We believe that to ensure equitable access, it is important to provide content developers and teachers with tools that enable them to easily create or use content in multiple formats and languages. And the content can be used on a variety of devices with or without internet. We have developed a what you see is what you get kind of tool, our own content creation platform for the same purpose. It can be used to create MCQs, comprehension questions, and various games like crosswords, drag and drop, card matching, and others. Here are some screenshots of a few games that content developers can create through our platform. You can see a crossword game on the left side and a drag and drop game on the right. We have integrated generative AI into our content creation platform to help teachers and content developers create a wide range of content. Let me show you how it works with this example of the crossword game. Here you can see a content developer can enter a topic name, select target audience, and set the number of words they want to generate. After pressing the generate button, the system uses our AI engine to create the words and their clues. Now, the AI engine basically writes a prompt for the content type, send it to generative AI, and pass the output in a format that our CMS can understand. So here's an example of the words and their respective clues generated by the AI. The content developers can review and make changes to the content, which is extremely important because AI can make mistakes. Here you can see the game in action. So that's how you can quickly create a game and review it and then share it with others. Coming to the challenges for generative AI integration that we have faced, for equitable access, it is important to support languages other than English. The generative AI models need high quality and diverse text data, and there are a good number of languages that don't have such a high quality data available. This creates an accuracy problem when we want to use generative AI in other languages. Let me give you an example. Let's say if you ask ChatGPT to share some poetry of a famous poet in Urdu, it will produce some text, but there is no guarantee that it's an actual work of that poet. Most probably it uses some sort of translation layer for such languages that creates this kind of problem. Another thing is the potential for mistakes. Generative AI models are getting better and better, but they are not perfect. They can still make mistakes, especially when it comes to complex topics. So it's important to evaluate the output by fact-checking and verifying information through credible sources. In our product, we have handled it by allowing content developers to kind of review the auto-generated content and make changes before pushing it to the learners. Regarding benefits, we ran a pilot with a few schools in Pakistan. We saw a significant increase in content creation pace, which basically increased 4 times. Also, the reviewer found less mistakes in the content, the grammatical mistakes, less mistakes. So it shows we can create content for learners more quickly by integrating with AI with content generation, the generative AI part. Now coming to the other type of AI. This is another use case, AI for personalized learning. For equitable access, we also believe that it is important to give learners the autonomy to learn at their own pace. So we have integrated AI into our learning platform to provide personalized recommendations for learners and educators. If you take a look at this learner view, you will see a recommendation bar. Our AI recommends 1 lesson per subject to the learners. Each lesson can include a video, an assessment, a game, a document, or any other content objects. And on attempting an assessment or game, it updates the recommendation for that subject. We are working on a recommendation engine for teachers, which will be slightly different from this one. But in this use case, I will be focusing on learner-based recommendations. So let's explore how the AI makes these recommendations. The fun part is our core part. This is basically a core part of our recommendation engine is the knowledge graph. So we built all our content from grade 1 to 10 based on skills. You can see 4 skills shown in the slide. These skills are linked to each other based on prerequisites. And additionally, these skills are linked not only within a grade level, but also across grades. So if a user struggles with a skill, we can move them to the right prerequisite skill they need to master first. Then again, because it's an AI, so a lot of data points we capture at user level and content level. As shown in the slide, we have divided the data points into 4 categories: content structure, general user performance, context, and behavior. Not all, but most of these data points go into our recommendation engine, along with the knowledge graph, to recommend skills to users at any point. And Ben rightly pointed out, we are also integrating space repetition into it so that you get the recommendation at the right time of the things that you've already learned. Regarding benefits, we conducted a pilot program in Pakistan involving 75 schools and 26,000 learners. We targeted 2 subjects, math and science. We observed 60% improvement in score using our personalized and blended learning solution. 60% is very good. It improved that much because the students who have scored lower in the pretest have showed significant improvement as compared to others. So the students who were at the lower end of the spectrum basically performed better. However, we can't attribute this success solely to AI because there is also an in-class component of our solution, meaning learners take assessment using clickers during class and then receive recommendations at home. This combination of blended and AI has proven to be effective overall. Our key learnings. First of all, having just around 10 to 15 questions per skill is not enough. So if you are building skills, it's good to add a lot more questions. We basically need more questions to fully assess and understand a learner's proficiency. This is one of the reasons why we built a content creation platform and integrated it with AI to quickly create content. Regarding the second point, we learned that if a learner gets stuck, there should be a way to request help from a bot, maybe Khanmigo, or a teacher. This ensures that they don't get stuck and can keep progressing. The last point, to keep learners motivated, we learned that it is important to arrange questions so they gradually increase in difficulty. In KP, we are using Bloom's taxonomy to solve this problem to some extent. Thank you. That's all. I hope you enjoyed the AI use cases we have shared. If you have any queries, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Mr. Anjum, for your comprehensive presentation on how AI can improve equity in education through personalized learning and content creation. We have all learned that knowledge platform, which intensively collects and analyzes all the content and user performance data, has do iteration to improve the platform even better. Thank you so much, Mr. Anjum. Now, before we move to the closing remarks, we still have 20 minutes or more time for question and answer session. So please feel free to submit your question through the chat function. And now we can actually begin our question and answer session. Please submit your question through the chat function. Our first question is for Ms. Pam Vachatimanont. So the question is, can you clarify the type of activities and curriculum used for teaching with AI and teaching about AI? I think it is important for teachers to see how AI is shaping jobs today and know how to use it for themselves to teach about AI to students. Pam, would you like to answer directly?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think there's many wonderful resources out there, many that are free to support teaching about AI, to teach AI literacy. And when to expand on that a little bit, teaching AI literacy includes a little bit of computer science, understanding how AI works, machine learning. It includes a little bit of data science, and a few other subjects. But as I mentioned, also talks, like you said, about societal impacts and understanding the impact of it for the workforce, the future, the ethics and the responsibilities when using AI. So the types of activities and curriculum to teach AI literacy include a little bit of understanding AI, how it's not, I think someone put in the chat, it's not, a magic machine that is not a human. It doesn't just pull information from anywhere. It helps understand that it takes information, a lot of different data pieces, and organizes it in a way, puts it out. I think Mr. Sajid just mentioned, and then it can be wrong. Why can it sometimes be wrong? And so the understanding of how AI works and activities to understand AI, a little bit of machine learning, is really important for students and teachers to not just passively receive the information that AI tools, generative AI tools produce, that we have to be able to understand where this information is coming from. Really wonderful AI literacy curriculum also touches around societal impacts. So it has students understand, for example, with social media, when they see things that they see news or what looks like news, how do they also know to question it, to think about it a bit more deeply? And so digital citizenship, media literacy are also other really wonderful activities and curricula that can help teach about AI. On the TeachAI website, we have a resource page with different examples of activities and curricula. And so if you're interested, I invite you to visit that, or code.org. I'll put some links in the chat for those that are interested to learn more about activities and curricula for AI literacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pam, for the answer. Next question is for Mr. Leong. Given Kodavri's success, what are the implications of using AI for teachers in areas with fewer resources? What challenges must be addressed to use AI in such contexts? Please, Mr. Leong.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Thanks, Romora. Okay, I think I saw the question earlier when it came up, right? So the question is, how can AI actually be used? Okay, wrong. The question is, can AI actually mitigate the kind of like the lack of resources in for instance in certain poor areas? The point is this: I think that AI can definitely help mitigate the lack of good teachers, right? But the trouble is that getting this access, getting this help available to the people who need it, right? It is actually not so much a tech problem. I think the tech problem is solved. The problem of getting access to them is really a political, it's a structural and practical problem. So I think the real problems that need to be solved, right, to kind of help these people is really figuring out sort of the political, the economic structures and potentially having NGOs go do this work. I think the technology part is something that has already been proven to work, right? So like for us, we did a kind of user study at IIT Kanpur, which is kind of one of the top schools in India, right? And of course, resourcing is not a problem. But what we've shown is that it works now. So there are tutors, right? And some of the tutors were not very good, right? And through this user study, we showed that actually from the results of our AI feedback and compared with the tutors, right? It actually, we can do better than the not so great tutors, right? So the technology part has been proven. But getting out there to the people who need it, I think is a problem that I don't have, unfortunately, an answer to at this point, because I'm really the computer scientist, right? We build the stuff to get it to work, right? But solving this kinds of, pretty nasty problems is something that's beyond just technology.
Thank you, Mr. Leong,
Thank you.
for the answer. The next question is for Mr. Anjum. Although the use of the games are straightforward, were there any challenges for teachers in using the platform in their pedagogy? What feedback did you receive to improve use of the platform by teachers?
Perfect question. Okay, so when we launched, we are developing educational games basically since 2013. And teachers are not very open to it, especially emerging. I'm talking about emerging markets only, because if you just change that to developed markets, then the game changes. So in the emerging markets, teachers are not that open to play games in class, and because they have like very limited time and all that. But COVID somehow changes the whole game, because in COVID, people got agency. They started playing the games on their own devices and all that. And now we have, teachers are asking us to provide them games. There's a few good things about the games from pedagogical perspective. One is basically games can help you visualize to some extent. And at the same time, we embed games into our lessons as a practice object, meaning you don't judge you on games. So you can play them as much as you want to. It's not like it's an assessment where if you attempt it, then your score is tracked and you will be asked for it. So to simplify the things, basically our games are there. We came up with this approach of putting games in each lesson, but for the practice purposes. So people can come in, they can play, and that helped the overall experience. The feedback that we got from teachers is basically these days is to build more games. They want to run more games. They like the crosswords. They may need some subject-specific games. They need simulations. So that kind of feedback, but not a feedback to change the way the games are designed. They're open to that. They can launch them in class, and then they can use them with the learners.
Thank you, Sajid. Next, Mr. Leong, there is another question. More and more people are turning to ChatGPT for their homework, essays, and even for work. How do we ensure learning and critical thinking take places when AI tools have proliferated and it's as easy as typing a prompt to get answers right away? And do you have any programs similar to Codafree or ChickGo for English language learning, especially writing and reading? Are Codafree and ChickGo free and easily accessible? Very interesting, Mr.
Okay.
Leong.
Right. Thank you for the question. There are actually many questions here. So let me just try to answer them a little bit more systematically. First, let's start the easy questions. Codafree is not really free if you're just a school and you can ask for access. ChickGo is still being developed. Right now, I'm personally using it in my classes. I forgot to mention I'm actually a prof at NUS as well, so I teach programming, which is why we have Codafree. Okay. As for the automatic feedback for English language, in fact, the Ministry of Education in Singapore has actually built something like Codafree. So Codafree gives feedback for coding questions. The Singapore Ministry of Education has actually built what's called automatic feedback kind of a tool for English language and also science, right? So if you're in Singapore, you can actually use it if you're a teacher. Right, and then this thing was cheating. Cheating has been a real problem. I didn't mention this, but one of the problems that my center is working on is really plagiarism detection. It has become really quite widespread, right? And I think while there's many good things that's been said about AI and how AI is going to help education, the fact is that teachers on the ground are actually grappling with this problem of students actually just cutting and pasting, the questions that we give them, and then just cutting and pasting the answers from ChatGPT, and submitting them. And it's become very, very difficult to actually catch them and to detect this. I mean, there have been tools online. For coding, it's very difficult, which is why we're working on it as an active research problem. I think for English text, I think there already are many tools that do that. But there's, of course, a concern that some of them have false positives. So you also worry about, falsely accusing the students of plagiarism. But the bigger problem is this. The bigger problem, and this is something that is a question that the teachers in Singapore often ask me. I'll give talk to the teachers quite often, which is that, so now ChatGPT is kind of a given, right? You can't ban it, right? It's here to stay. You can tell us the students not to use it, they're going to use it anyway. So how do we deal with this? Now, so this is what I tell the teachers, which is that my approach is to kind of reason with the students, right? And I said, okay, ChatGPT is good, right? And it helps in many ways, but you're here to learn, okay? So this is my kind of like the general guideline I give them. Do not use GPT to do things that you cannot do. Okay, if you use ChatGPT to do things you cannot do, you give a piece of homework, you don't know how to do it, you have ChatGPT do it for you, you will never learn it, right? It means that you are just wasted that chance to learn. However, okay, if you know how to do something and you're using ChatGPT to do something for you that you're kind of too lazy to do, but you can actually do, then that's okay. So my point is that if GPT is used, it's not so much as a kind of a cheat, right? But as a productivity tool to help students do stuff that they already know how to do faster, then it's fine, right? Because you can imagine if a student use GPT to do something for them that they cannot do, they will never be able to do. And that's obviously against the spirit of learning. So I hope that that helps. And then for people who are interested in Codeva and Chico, they can write to me and we can discuss how we can make it available to some people for testing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leong,
Romora,
for the sharing on when to use ChatGPT. Next question is for Mr. Anjum. How do we ensure that AI is properly utilized by students if we are to teach with AI through teaching about AI? AI is a very big and overwhelming topic.
Very good question. I think basically, because you see, generative AI is very powerful. But at the same point, if you just go back and check it out, Google search is also extremely powerful. So learners can go in, search anything and view it, and we cannot control that. So maybe what Ben has basically highlighted, that was the core point, that we have to tell students to use ChatGPT or any other Gemini or Bing only when you understand the topic, because it can make mistakes. And it's very easy. I mean, you can also, I think, there are a few things. I mean, we can come up with 10 points, which we can share with learners. Let's say, don't use it to write your assignments because it's very easy. There are plagiarism tools out there. We can find out and all that. So one thing is basically putting controls. The other is letting them go and use the platform. I don't think there is, it's like a big challenge right now, because it's limiting anybody who's expert. Let's say if we are like use ChatGPT a lot on the programming side, after only 5 to 6 days, we understand the limitations of the platform easily. So any expert, any good guy can easily understand, and students who are learning can easily correlate with other materials they are learning and what ChatGPT is telling them and figure out if that is correct or not. So we don't need to put any kind of filters in there, but yes, to give them guidance on when to use AI and when not to use AI is, I think, more important.
Thank you so much, Anjum. The next question is to Ms. Vachatimanont. How can we motivate students to still come up with their own ideas and output, despite having AI tools there to make things relatively easier for them? What policies or measures can teachers apply in the classroom to mitigate unregulated AI use by students without worsening the digital divide? Pam, would you like to respond?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I think this is a really wonderful one. With a lot of the 100+ organizations that I work with in TeachAI, we often ask, how do we rethink how we teach? Do we assess the same things that we assessed before? Do we need to reconsider what we are testing? And so one of the opportunities, and I think in the chat, someone asked, how can AI really transform education? Or how will we need to transform education because of AI? I think your question also relates to that. Part of it is one, long-term, excited for the world to reconsider what we assess, what output we actually focus on assessing, what are the new skills or skills that we need to emphasize more because of technologies and advancements in technologies. What are the new skills that students need to learn and emphasize more? So that's one, rethinking what we teach and what we assess. And two, I think that there's a lot of work being done as well around the use of AI tools and creativity. And that's where, again, my big push for AI literacy comes back in. I think if we can encourage students to think responsibly and critically about how they use the technologies, they can understand that it can make mistakes, that they still need to guide it, to lead it and tell it what to do. I still have a lot of hope and expectation that for students who can understand what AI is and have a good sense of AI literacy, that they can still be really motivated to produce their own ideas and really see the AI tool as a thought partner, as something to help remove writing blocks instead of doing the writing for them. So I think through teaching about AI responsibly, we can address a lot of these issues. To the second question of policies and measures that teachers can apply in the classroom, there are a lot of wonderful examples of schools who are updating their academic integrity policies around AI. Some teachers ask students to sign in the beginning of a year some sort of class promise of how they plan to use it responsibly, how they don't. Teachers can be very clear about some assignments. Some teachers will just say, if you want, you can use ChatGPT for this. This is how I expect you to use it. And this is what I want you to be able to explain or present to your friends. So if you visit the TeachAI website, there is a guidance toolkit where we have sample guidance and sample policies for classroom use for teachers to consider as they think about creating some guardrails for their students around how they want AI to be used. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vachatimanont. Next, our next question goes to us. All right. I think that is all the questions we have. Oh, this is the last questions. It goes to everyone, all the speakers. How could AI help to support children in poor communities? Would AI increase inequality between children in different social levels rather than equity in education? Very interesting questions. Maybe we can start with Mr. Leong, then Ms. Vachatimanont, and Mr. Anjum.
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so I can go first, right? Thank you. So I think interestingly, I just came back from Thailand, right? And I was aware that there are quite a few refugee camps in Thailand, right? So there are children in poor communities that actually don't even have access to hardware, to computers. I have had some students who are actually arranging to donate some laptops to a refugee camp in Thailand. So I think that right now, the many of these communities are suffering from, just even lack of access to basic education and technical support, right? So I guess as AI is kind of, and MOE, Singapore MOE, we have already, kind of launched a national adaptive learning system. Yesterday, I just had a meeting with some my MOE people, and then they are rebuilding like automated feedback tools to support teachers. So in some ways, at the more like wealthy countries like Singapore, AI is being used to teach better, and the teachers are more efficient. Yeah, so unfortunately, I think there will be so AI instead of like improving of reducing inequality, actually it's going to be exacerbated, because the countries that have access to these resources would be able to exploit them and do better, whereas the communities that do not have even the basic like hardware will probably fall behind. So unfortunately, this is what I think is going to be the case. So I think focusing on AI just to reduce inequality is not enough. I think that more work still needs to be done at a kind of social, economic kind of a level, right, in order to help. But the fact is that if we are able to bring in the laptops and ensure that these communities in these poor areas actually have access to internet, right, to the laptops they need, then potentially, right, AI will be able to help alleviate the kind of inequality somewhat, right? Because as I mentioned in my talk earlier today, I think AI can be used to kind of like scale up to kind of reinforce to give these students with more help, right, that it would otherwise not have had. Okay, but I think AI itself, I think the message I want to say is that AI itself is not enough now. We need actually to have the social, economic kind of support, right, the hardware support, and then maybe AI can help, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting, Mr. Leong. AI is not enough. We need the economic and social support as well. Next, Mr. Vachatimanont, would you like to respond, please?
Great. Thank you, Romora. And thank you, Ben. Just to build on what Mr. Leong just said, yes, there is this potential simply that AI can potentially increase that inequality because of the access issues that Mr. Leong mentioned, but also because of AI, there's now more complications around design and use. A really interesting conversation that I've had in the past year has also raised a concern around, yes, what if all students do get access to AI tools? There's no hardware barriers. Everyone has access. What about some students who just use it for test prep and memorization and learning certain knowledge skills, whereas other students are using AI for creativity, critical thinking, or other kind of skills? And so I think what the world is challenging us with now is a more complicated digital divide that we have to work together to address and consider. It's no longer just about access. There's also design and use issues. I'll drop into the chat a really great article written by an education technology thought leader from the World Bank on the next AI and the next digital divide. And for those that are interested to learn more, I highly recommend reading this article.
Thank you, Ms. Vachatimanont. Indeed, there are more complications in the AI digital divide, and we have to work extra mile to ensure that there are better equity and education through AI. Next, Mr. Anjum, would you like to respond, please?
Thank you for the question. I think a very good question. Yes, in the current format, to access AI, generative AI, because that's the AI we're talking about, you need internet, you need a device. So I think definitely at this stage there is an inequality, but there is a ray of hope, and that is basically that there are companies that are now working, because you understand the problem of generative AI. It's like from the engineering point of view, it's the LLMs are pretty big in size. They need huge machines to run those models, and then so that's why you need internet access. But recently, companies have started announcing smaller LLM models that can run offline on your devices. For example, to give you just a reference, Apple Intelligence is one of those. So companies are now going to put NPU chips in the devices, which will help you cut the first problem, which is you need online access, internet access. So I think there is a ray of hope that in future, in very near future, we may be able to run AI locally on the devices. That will solve a bigger problem. And then the problem will still remain for those who cannot even afford a single device, even at a family level. That will remain a problem. And to fix that, I definitely think we need cheaper devices. We need some intervention to make more budget-friendly devices and models to address those markets. Thank you. Edward, sorry, you were on mute. Sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Anjum. So yeah, Mr. Anjum just highlighted there are hope of bridging this digital divide through affordable and budget-friendly device so that we can run LLM, simple LLM in our device. Thank you, Mr. Leong, Miss Vachatimanont, and Mr. Anjum for your insightful question and active participation. And everyone, thank you so much. It's been a productive session. I hope you found the question and answer valuable, but we haven't ended yet. Now we will move on to the closing notes. The closing notes will be delivered by Mr. Ilja Riki, Project Officer, Section of Youth Literacy and Skills Development, Education Sector, UNESCO Paris. He will briefly introduce the UNESCO Global Skills Academy, which provides digital skills development opportunities for enhanced employees and give closing remarks through this pre-recorded video. Kindly please play the video. Thank you. Let's watch.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, colleagues, wherever and whenever you're watching this presentation. Sawadee Krab and Kabun Krab for allowing me to present the UNESCO Global Skills Academy offering, and especially the digital skills offering of GSA to you today. My name is Ilja Riekki. I'm currently working at UNESCO headquarters in Paris, in France, in the section of Youth Literacy and Skills Development on technical and vocational education and training, skills development and digitalization of education, including artificial intelligence. My warmest greetings for friends and colleagues in the Asia-Pacific region, and thank you for Equitable Education Fund Thailand for your continuing support for equitable education. Thank you for gathering us today. Also thanks goes to the UNESCO Bangkok colleagues. Such an amazing group of experts to discuss the risks, opportunities and role of AI for equity in education. Globally, every 1 in 5 youth are not in education, employment or training. Young people are thrice as likely to be unemployed than adults. This being the reality while we are facing an aging population in Asia-Pacific region. It has been estimated that at least 86 million workers in Asia-Pacific alone need to be upskilled or reskilled to match the pace of technological change. The objective of Global Skills Academy's mission is to support youth and adult skills development to enhance their employability and resilience. We aim to equip 10 million learners by 2030, but with digital, green, entrepreneurial or vocational skills to enhance their career opportunities. We have a growing network of 25 partners, which we channel through network of over 170 institutions, majority of them so-called UNEVOC centers. In addition, learners, including you, can access the skills development and training content of our partners directly through our website. To be mindful of time, without going to specific details, here you can see our current partner network. Here are our selected partners offering digital skills and capacity development content on following categories: digital literacies and foundational digital skills, including generative artificial intelligence, job-specific digital skills and capabilities, capacity development for digital pedagogies and teaching skills, and advanced digital and technical skills. I encourage you to get familiar with the Global Skills Academy training opportunities online and recommend us to learners and to your colleagues, or share our resources to relevant institutions. We are also open for new partners who are willing to open their learning content free of charge to benefit learners. As my last point, I would like to extend an invitation to the celebration of World Youth Skills Day 2024 on 15th of July online, and to the GSA session AI Skills for the Future of Work. Please register using the QR code or through the link provided. These slides, together with the additional resources listed here by UNESCO and its institutes, will be delivered to the EEA Secretariat to be shared with you after this event. Thank you for your interest in Global Skills Academy and Global Education Coalition, and thank you for your continued support to enhance the employment opportunities of 10 million people by 2030.
Thank you. Before we end this webinar, allow me to conclude our session. We have had an engaging and informative discussion today, and I want to thank our speakers for sharing their expertise and insights. We are honored to have had such a distinguished speakers share their insight on the opportunities and challenges of leveraging AI to ensure equity in education. To summarize, Mr. Leong emphasized the critical role of teachers in education and how AI can help scale up their efficiency and effectiveness, especially in addressing the shortage of qualified teachers. Mr. Leong mentioned that teaching is the business of managing motivation. He also shared about Codafree, an AI-based automatic feedback platform for coding questions. It has been proven to significantly improve student engagement and programming learning outcomes. Ms. Pam Vachatimanont highlighted the importance of bridging digital divide and promoting AI literacy to ensure equitable access to AI technology in education. She provided policy ideas to foster leadership and support innovation, sharing examples of successful initiatives that have reduced the digital divide and promote AI literacy in various countries. Mr. Sajid Ali Anjum discussed the benefits of AI for personalized learning and content creation, sharing successful case studies from Knowledge Platform, where AI-driven personalized learning paths have led to higher student achievement and retention rates in Pakistan. Finally, Mr. Ilja Riki introduced the UNESCO Global Skill Academy, which provides digital skills development opportunities for enhanced employment. He emphasized the importance of providing access to digital skills training to help bridge the gap between education and employment opportunities. As we have learned, AI has the potential to revolutionize education by increasing access, personalized learning, and promoting lifelong learning. However, it's also crucial to address the ethical, privacy, and security challenges associated with AI. Let's take the insights from today's discussion and implement AI policies in educational practices responsibly and inclusively. Together, we can create equitable educational landscape where every learner has the opportunity to thrive. So thank you for your participation. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you at another EEA future events. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.